Hi everybody, we're going to spend about 10 minutes discussing hot buttons. When I say hot buttons, I'm referring to things individuals we provide services to may say or do to staff members that may make that staff member temporarily lose control. A hot button is a topic or issue that is highly charged emotionally. It's imperative as a staff member to be able to identify what your hot buttons are. If you know what they are ahead of time, you are less likely to respond in an unprofessional manner. Remember, if a person receiving services is pushing one of your hot buttons, we can't take it personally. Even though it may seem like it, they aren't doing it as a personal attack towards you. There's a function behind every behavior. It's our job as staff to decipher information and get to the root cause of that behavior. Some staff members have verbal hot buttons. I've heard people say things such as, if somebody threatens me, I'm okay with that. But if they threaten my family, they've gone too far. My question to you is, if a person receiving services does make a threat toward a family member, and that is your hot button, how are you going to control yourself? Remember, this is an emotionally charged situation. You're going to have a conversation with yourself so you don't overreact. Maybe you can tell yourself, he didn't mean that. Besides, he doesn't even know my family. Plus, I'm the professional and I'm here to help this person because he loses control of his emotions at times. This may sound ridiculous, but it's actually effective. You have to develop scripts for situations like these ahead of time so you can walk yourself through situations when your hot buttons get pushed. If you don't have a tool like a script to use, you may react in an unprofessional manner. Some other common verbal hot buttons include being swore at, being yelled at, right? Racial slurs, and insults. Again, these may not all pertain to you, but if any of them do, make sure to have a plan ahead of time. Develop a script for whatever your hot button is that will walk you through that situation. If you have a plan, you'll be able to respond to those hot buttons professionally. Let's talk about physical hot buttons for a minute. We don't have time to go through all of them in detail, but here are some of the more common ones that we hear about. First one is hitting, kicking, pushing, pinching, scratching, hair pulling, biting, grabbing, spitting, invading personal space, property destruction, and throwing items. I don't want to talk about all of these in detail because we don't have time, so there is one I want to focus on for a minute here, and that's spitting, right? Why do staff have a tendency to get upset if somebody spits on them? It doesn't hurt, and yes, I understand it's a body fluid coming from another person, so it may bother people, right? It's kind of gross. However, I think it bothers so many people because it's actually, it's the ultimate sign of disrespect, right? But again, if a person receiving services spits on you, it actually has nothing to do with disrespect. Something else has happened to trigger that behavior. It may actually have nothing to do with you at all. You have to remind yourself of that. If you respond by saying, "That's nasty, I can't believe you just spit on me," I would count on that happening even more. They're going to keep spitting on you. It's important not to react to your hot button. If you do, the person will keep pushing it because he or she knows a reaction will follow. Ignoring the behavior is your best bet at that point. I didn't say ignore the person. Just ignore the fact the person just spit on you and try to get to the root cause of the behavior. Again, as with any hot button, you have to have an internal script available so you respond professionally. Maybe you have to tell yourself, "That's not spit, it's water." Or, "Okay, I just got spit on. The world didn't end. Let me help this person get through this situation. Then I can wash my face off really well." Anytime somebody is pushing our hot buttons, either physically or verbally, we can't act out in anger. We're professionals. It's our duty to remain calm and respond appropriately. Remember, if somebody is pushing your hot buttons, it can be a warning sign of frustration as well. Everything we do should be with the intent of helping calm that person down as soon as possible. When somebody pushes one of your hot buttons, your stress level may rise immediately, and that may lead to some of these symptoms of anger. It's important to recognize anger in yourself. Do any of these sound familiar? It's important to know what being angry feels like to you. What do you notice first when you begin to feel angry? Does your pulse race? Do your muscles tense up? Do you clench your fists? The hot button may trigger an unprofessional verbal response as well. On top of that, you may become so frustrated and begin to lose control. If you lose control, you may respond physically. It's imperative you are able to control these indicators of stress as a staff member. This is where it's important to develop those scripts I've been talking about in previous slides. If you develop scripts, you will be able to walk yourself through these situations without reacting unprofessionally. When somebody is pushing your hot buttons, it's imperative you don't react immediately. You really have to slow yourself down, take some deep breaths, use internal scripts if you have them, and remind yourself you're at work and the person isn't pushing your buttons as a personal attack. If you're having a hard time controlling your emotions, you may have to remove yourself from the situation. It's completely okay to let another staff step in and take over if they're able to. I've seen staff swap out more times than I can remember. Also, you could always go to a different room or even step outside to get some fresh air if that's an option. A lot of times, removing yourself from the situation gives you time to collect your thoughts so you're able to deal with the situation logically and not emotionally. If you reacted to the hot button the first time, chances are really good it's going to happen again because the person now knows how to get a reaction out of you. After that situation is over, come up with a game plan in case it ever happens again. It's really important to develop a strategy. Be open-minded to other staff suggestions as well, especially if they have more experience working in the field. There are some specific steps that you may need to take to develop a game plan. First, imagine yourself successfully handling the situation the next time it happens. When you do it successfully, what does it look like overall? What's your body language like? Are you calm and relaxed? What does that look like? Are your hands by your side? Is your posture non-threatening? Next, what will you say and how will you say it? Are you talking in a calm, even tone of voice? How loud are you talking and how fast are you talking? This is also where you take time to develop scripts to get through those situations. After you've imagined a successful intervention, it's time to get focused. What steps do you need to take to get yourself to the point of the successful response? There may be some work involved. Are all these strategies reasonable? Right? Is this something you can actually accomplish? If so, you just figured out how to handle that hot button situation. Now you can put the strategy into action if it's ever necessary. If you can game plan for hot button situations, you'll never have to worry about responding in an unprofessional manner.